Hello, hello. Tyson here with Pipeline Primers. I'm excited to share with you today how to set up the Inescapable sales funnel. Now, this video is going to be for people who want to set up the sales funnel either for their own marketing agency or for current clients or onboarding clients of Pipeline Primers that want to understand a little bit of the back end as well as what we're going to need from you in order to make sure that we have a smooth process and nobody is falling through the cracks in terms of your pipeline and what we're able to get booked onto your calendar. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to explain the concept of this inescapable kind of sales funnel. Okay, and the goal of this really is to keep people in the loop in our calling processes until they get to this lovely end goal of a sale, right? Either that or they tell us never contact me again, right? We're going to keep reaching out to them in a formal manner, of course, but the goal is to move them through this process to become a sale, right? And so at the very beginning, obviously, there's going to be some kind of trigger, whether that's something from your system, whether that's an inbound lead from a Facebook ad, a Google ad, or it's just someone that you're like, hey, we've talked with this person multiple times. He's fallen through the cracks. I want to make sure that doesn't happen again, and you want to send him over. Great. We'll set something up so that he get triggers and get sent into our system. Okay. So what happens is we get a trigger. It's going to go through our personal inbound sorter, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. That's going to go then into our Kixie pre-voicemail power list. And that way we know, okay, when we're calling these people, we're going to be leaving a voicemail in case we can't get a hold of them. And then that'll forward into our post voicemail power list, so we're not leaving them multiple voicemails. From there, this process kind of repeats itself until we get either a no or to an appointment scheduled. Okay. From the appointment, either they're going to show up or they're going to no-show or cancel. So if they no-show or cancel, there's a really easy way in your system to mark that, and we'll set up another automation that's going to trigger another webhook and come right back into here, right? So that way we can call them back, get them rescheduled, get them back onto your calendar, right? This is really important so that people, again, aren't falling through the cracks. Now, if they do show up, after that, you're either going to close them, you're going to get a sale from that, or there's a lot of people that show up to strategy calls and then they're really interested or maybe they're not ready to take the next step yet, and we just kind of forget about them, right? And so I'll also talk about how we can make a workflow and an automation that will, wait a certain number of days, however long you want to wait, to basically say, okay, if they were going to sign, they would have signed by now. We need to contact them and get them back on the calendar, right? So wait a certain number of days and go back into the system. So we're going to call them, get them back on the calendar, see what happened. Are they still interested? If yes, cool, let's get them back on your calendar so you can get that sale, okay? Now, the inbound sorter, this is the system that we have set up for our clients to make it really easy for you. We don't want to have to be sending tons of different webhooks back and forth between our systems. So we're just going to have basically one master webhook and one inbound sorter that you'll send everybody and anybody to, right? Again, in all those different situations. And what this is going to do in our system is it's going to create or find the contact. It'll have 3 different kind of actions. So either remove from lists. Let's say someone comes in through a Facebook ad and then they end up scheduling on their own. And then you're like, okay, cool. We don't want you guys to contact them anymore because they're already scheduled. Let's remove them from their list. Or someone is do not contact, whatever. That's one option. Or we can add them to the list. And then in that case, we'll just specify whether it's a new lead that's kind of a higher priority, or if it's an older lead, like I mentioned, that maybe they had an appointment at some point, they were in the pipeline in the past, and so we still want to contact them, but maybe it's not as warm and we don't need to be contacting them as quickly, okay? Or we're going to update the appointment status. And this just makes it really easy for tracking on our end and for you guys, so you don't have to be going in and updating our tracking sheets and all that stuff every single day. We'll just make it super easy so it'll automatically update. And then if it's canceled or no-showed, then we'll put them into our follow-up list and, again, be following up with them. Now, to show you what this actually looks like in Go High Level, if you want to take a screenshot of this or want to look at it more in depth, that's totally fine. But basically here, we'll have a trigger for an inbound webhook. Again, we'll give you that specific URLs when we set it up with your system. It's going to create the contact, add a tag so we know that it's associated with your account. And then we've got these 3 different actions, right? Add to list, remove from list, or update appointment status. And Kixie was really nice. They started integrating with GoHighLevel, so you can add just a remove from all power list. That way we're just taking them out of any list that we have, so we're not going to call them if we go into this action. If we update the appointment status, we're going to update it based off of the status, so whether it's showed, no showed, canceled, scheduled. And right now I just have this based off of tags, so it'll remove a tag if it already happened and then re-add it, and that's basically just going to trigger another workflow. You could have this just go straight into another workflow. You could just do right here, add to workflow. Since this is just a template, I'm doing it just based off of tags, okay? And then you'll see for no showed or canceled, it'll go through no show, it'll wait an hour, put them back into our list so we can call them. Canceled, it'll give a little bit more time, wait maybe 8 hours. So if they haven't rescheduled with you guys, then we'll call them back and get them back on the calendar, okay? And these will also have automations to set up. The tags will trigger automations to update the appointment tracking sheet, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, for the new leads, if you send something over that needs to be added to one of our lists, again, that's then going to filter to see if it's a new lead or an old lead. And then these are going to be kind of customized, right? So that way, again, we know where we need to send them and when we're calling them, why we're calling them, right? Whether they downloaded a resource, registered for a webinar, requested a book, whatever it is. Or if it's an old lead, same kind of thing. So these will be customized, and we'll just need to know exactly what those are. We'll go over that in our onboarding call with you guys. But that's kind of what we're looking at there. Now, the important thing to understand with this is how we have this all triggered is based off of custom variables in GoHighLevel, okay? So whenever we send information over, we need some basic information and then some routing information so we can tell where is that lead going to do, what do we want to do with it, okay? And I will have a copy of this as well for clients so they know, so you guys know kind of what we need to be sent over. So basic information, just first name, last name, company name, email, phone number, city, all this stuff. If some of this stuff is missing, like a city, state, website, these things, that's totally fine. Most important thing, of course, is phone number and company name. Those are the basic things that we absolutely need to be able to put them into our system. If you have the rest of the information, the more the merrier. That just helps us get better results, okay? Then the routing information, this is what we will use to determine, right, what to do with the lead. So we'll have custom variables for each of these. The action to remove from list, add to list, or update appointment status, the appointment status, any of these, the lead age. So all of these will be set. These are the exact values that we need you guys to set up for this. For the new lead source or old lead source, these will be customized. So we'll kind of figure out, okay, what are the most common things or ways that people will come in? What are your resources? Where are you getting things? And we'll map that out so we can route leads to the right place, okay? Now what this looks like in GoHighLevel, if we go over to our custom variables in here, I would suggest just making a folder so it stays separate from your other variables, and then just setting up all of these. So we'll have the action. For this, I just have single options, so it'll have the different options: remove, add, or update. Appointment status, same thing, it'll have the different options. Lead age, it'll have the different options. And then the new lead source and old lead source, those again are going to be variables, so we'll figure out exactly what those need to be. So on your contact, before you send someone over in your workflow, you're going to make sure to update these. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second, okay? So just to show you some use cases of when this may be a good fit and when you may want to put these into your automations, we are going to I'm going to show you a couple examples, okay? So let's say after a strategy call, you're going to add a trigger. This is something that I love doing after strategy calls. I'll usually tell them, hey, if you don't close, I'm going to send you a recap email, and I'll just add a tag with a generic recap email. Again, unless they've requested something specific, it's good just to send them something generic with pricing so they can review it. Again, another value prop. That's a good thing to kind of include in your recap email. So you'll add a trigger, send a recap email, and then I would probably set up some additional follow-up emails over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, kind of depending on your typical sales cycle. just to try to get them back in the workflow automatically, right? So that's just saying stuff like, hey, I forgot to mention this, or hey, just so you know, once you sign up, this is what our program looks like. Those follow-up emails can potentially get people back in and to get to the close. Now, after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long you want to wait, and you decide, hey, haven't heard from this guy, I don't want to chase him down, let's send him over to pipeline primers. You're going to configure the custom variables and then trigger that to send to pipeline primers. And this will all just be in one workflow, okay? And I'll show you how to configure those as well here in a second. For a brand new lead, same kind of thing, a trigger, maybe a form received. You'll probably have your own automations as well, but at some point you're also going to configure the custom variables, say, hey, this is a new lead, this is the new lead source, and the action is to add to power list, right? And that way when it comes into our system, again, it routes into the correct position. And then we'll trigger that to send over to us. And then let's say they canceled an appointment. Typically, if this happens, I'll wait an hour just in case they reschedule with me or they get on the call or something happens, right? I don't want to send it over and then have to remove it. So I'll have it wait an hour. And if in that hour they don't reschedule, we're waiting on something, whatever, then it'll configure the custom variables and trigger to send over again. And I'm going to show you in Go High Level this example of a canceled appointment. Okay. So this is the template strategy call canceled. In this, we'll see the trigger is appointment canceled. So to show you what this exactly looks like, if you want to create a new one, you'll basically go add new trigger. You'll go appointment status, and then you'll have to get the right calendar. So you'll do in calendar, you'll select the right calendar, whatever that is. And then this is the important part, is appointment status is. And so you can select the different appointment statuses based off of what the appointment is, right? So if they're canceled, you press canceled, and that's kind of how you'll set up this trigger, okay? And so that's the trigger. Once it cancels, it's going to come in. It'll wait 1 hour. And then this is the fun part, is updating those custom fields. So to do this, you will come and find update contact field, and you're going to add the fields. So for this, for an appointment canceled, every single one, we're going to need the action. So the action will be update appointment status, and then the appointment status is going to be canceled. Okay. So those are actually the only custom variables that we need to update for this specific scenario. Now let's say it was something more in depth, right? If we were adding to a power list, then we need to do the lead age and select whether that's new or old, and then the new lead source, right? And then we'll put whatever we've decided are some of your typical offerings or the new lead sources, right? So whether that's downloaded resource or whatever it is, right? And so once you're done with that, you'll just save that, and that'll update those contact fields, okay? Now the next important thing is going to be the webhook that you're sending over. So we will give you this URL so that you can send it over to the correct place, and you're going to include all that custom data that we mentioned before, right? So all of this stuff. So every single time you're going to have all the basic stuff, first name, last name, company name, and you'll just get these as normal using these tags, so contact, first name, and you'll put all of those in here. And you can pause, take a screenshot of this if you need to. Most of these are pretty standard. If you have Google reviews or Google review score, maybe this tag is different. I would just double check. And then the last part, again, is going to be that custom data. So the action and appointment status. And what I would probably do here is for whichever action or whichever workflow you're doing, just add the stuff that you need, right? So again, for this, all you need is the action appointment status. If you need the lead age, you'll include that, and you'll just go here, go into the custom values, go to contact, custom fields, and then you'll scroll down until you find the lead age. And since we updated that right in the previous one, it's going to update to exactly what you need it to be, okay? So you could even put all of these variables in and then actually just copy this So since we don't actually have the lead age in here, we can still add that. It's just going to be blank, which is totally fine. But the nice thing now with Go High Level is they do have an awesome copy action, and you can go and paste this in other workflows. So that way you don't have to type out that entire thing every single time. So really cool new feature. I would highly recommend using that because there may be multiple places, right, where you want to send a webhook over to us for us to follow up with them. Okay. And then I would also suggest, if you have something like this, if you don't already, to also do your own SMSs and emails. So maybe waiting a day, sending a text like, hey, just wanted to check in since we missed you on our call yesterday. When would it work better to reschedule? Something like that. And I would have some other cadences there just in case we can catch them from different angles. Again, they'll come into our system. We're going to be calling them, but I would also have that set up. Now to see, in case you haven't done this before, this is a really cool system in Go High Level. And this is how I track our appointments. And it just makes it really easy to trigger these. So in order to actually trigger this appointment canceled, we'll have to see the appointment on the calendar, right? Make sure it's in the right calendar. And if you go to the appointment status, you can see the different statuses. So once you schedule something, it always just comes in and it defaults to confirmed, okay? After the appointment, then it's kind of up to you. It doesn't automatically update, unfortunately, but what I do every time I get off of a call, I'll go, okay, cool, they showed up, I'll mark it as showed, right? Or I'm waiting on the call, they don't answer, cool, I'm gonna come in here and mark it as no show, right? And that way then I just mark it, I know that they had the appointment, and I can also see if they have multiple appointments, hey, they missed it multiple times, maybe this time they're not a good fit, we're not gonna keep following up with these people, right? Or cool, they've had multiple showed appointments, like they're really consistent, we need to make sure we follow up with this person, get them closed, right? So that's a really cool tool that I would also recommend using. Now that's really the basics of what you need to know for the Inescapable funnel. If you're onboarding with me and with Pipeline Primers, that's basically what you need to know. Now, if you want to stick around, I'm also going to go over just some basics of the Kixie flows that I have set up. And if you're curious to know what the backend kind of looks like as well. So whenever we say this trigger to Pipeline Primers, or if we come over here, we see kind of these pre-voicemail and post-voicemail power lists. What that looks like in Kixie is we have different power lists, right? Or these are the lists that we're logging into every day. We can see who we need to call, how many people are uploaded. These are all just templates. They don't have anybody uploaded right now. But basically what we're going to do, again, based off the data that you give us, it'll route into one of these power lists. Typically, it'll be either like the hot new resources or new resources. We may have some other ones like old resources or downloaded PDF. Kind of depends on the number of contacts that you have, if there's enough to justify making a whole new list just for it. But that's kind of how we'll set it up. And then we have a high priority, low priority, and medium priority power list. And you also notice we actually have the priority in Kixie mentioned here. So high, medium, low. And so that means if I'm dialing multiple lists and I just have all of them selected, it's automatically going to go and dial the high priority ones first, right? So these are the ones that come in, they're really hot. We leave a voicemail. If they don't answer here, then they're going to route into this high priority list, right? Now, if it's maybe a new resources, maybe it's not as urgent, or it's an old resources, we'll call them, leave a voicemail, and then they'll get routed maybe into this medium priority list, right? And after we've called them 4 times or so, you can come into the power list and see our max number of attempts. And if we call them 4 times, never gotten a hold of them, then it'll route into that low priority power list as well. And those will be the people, if we get to the very bottom of the barrel and we need to go back, we can call them, but they're probably not going to pick up unless something else triggers to add them back into a high priority list. Okay, so that's the basics of how we have these power lists set up. I know there's a lot more to go into with Kixie and how we can set really cool things up. So if you'd like to see more stuff about Kixie, feel free to drop a comment in the video below and let me know what else you guys would like to see, and we'll call it a day.